Hello children, welcome to the second chapter, second part of chapter number 9 of our economics. Yesterday we had seen about human rights. We had also seen about the fundamental rights, and in that we had seen the first right, that is right to equality. Today we are going to see about the second right, that is right to freedom. We are going to see about the second right, that is right to freedom. The Constitution of India provides citizen of India with six type of right. We already seen there are six type of rights in it. Okay, freedom which are as under. Okay, now freedom of right to freedom is a cluster of right. Is a cluster means a group of right. Okay, there are six kind of freedom which are given. There are six kind of freedom that are given into this rights. Let us see. First, freedom of speech and expression. See, first is freedom of speech and expression. Second, freedom to assemble peacefully without arms. Second is to assemble. Assemble is to group peacefully without arms. Third, to form associations and unions. To form association and unions. Fourth, to move freely through the territory of India. Okay, you can move in any part of India without any problem. Fifth, to reside and settle in any part of India or territory of India. You can settle in any part of India without any problem or without any permission. And sixth, to practice any profession, to carry any occupation, trade or business. You can practice any profession. Yes, you need to be qualified for that. You can carry out any occupation and trade or business. Okay, so here we see this all rights. Here we see this all rights into it, and in right, as I told you, right to freedom is a cluster group of all this six freedoms. It is a group of all this six freedom. Okay, so we'll see this. So these rights are the utmost importance for overall development of a personality and expression of Indian citizen, for harmonious working of democracy and a healthy lifestyle. Any individual cannot exercise this freedom autonomously and irresponsibly. The government or the constitution gives you freedom, but you cannot use this freedom when it damages the freedom of other person into you, right? You cannot use this freedom in such a way that it obstacles or it hinders the freedom of the other person or the society. The state can control and limit this freedom. See, state has the right to limit this freedom if they go against welfare, peace and security of the society. This has clearly mentioned into the constitution. It has been stated in constitution how these rights are exercised. Okay, there are also ways in which the rights can be exercised. Indian citizens have been given freedom of speech and expression. See, they are given the freedom of speech and expression, but speech and expression should not be used in such a way that it tarnishes or it spoils someone's image. If it is used in such a way, then the other person can go or take help of the court. This can be expressed either orally, verbally or through gestures. See, okay, orally, verbally or through gestures, but that does not provide exercising this right. See, this does not provide exercising this right in unlimited and unrestricted manner. You cannot use the right to freedom of speech in a unrestricted manner. There are certain rules and regulations that you need to follow, otherwise there you may have problem. Certain necessary control and limitation have been stated in constitution. So there are certain limitations that are stated into the constitution. The state can put required control through law and order for maintaining the unity of integrated. Even the state means the government can control from you from saying things for the integrity of the country. Safety of the state for amicable relation with foreign nations. Okay, so like if you say something that can damage the position of the nation, or that can damage the reputation of the nation, then the government can stop you from using the freedom of speech or expression. Public management and peace, compromise and safety, morality, discipline, contempt of court, defamation and provocation of or violence of. So whenever such kind of thing is done with your freedom of speech, then the government can stop you from using it. It is the authority of judiciary whether this may limitation, there are many limitations, are approached inappropriate, okay, they are appropriate or inappropriate, that is done or that is considered by judiciary. The purpose behind freedom of press, through which ideas and opinions put forth the public welfare, are not separately mentioned. It can be included in right to expression. It can be included into right to expression, freedom of press. Now, freedom of press means the press, the newspapers has a right to publish things. Yes, they need to be correct. Okay, they cannot publish things which are false. If they do so, then there are repercussions. Then there are problems for them too, and that all will be included into right to expression. The latest amendment of 2009 in Constitution of India confirmed free and compulsory primary education for children between 6 to 14, that is known as RTE, that is known as RTE, right to education. It means free and compulsory education to children from 6 to 14 years of age, right? If a person is not convicted for a crime, then he cannot be sentenced to punishment or more punishment than one prescribed by law. Cannot be given the punishment more than once. You cannot be given punishment more than once, and cannot be given the same to convicted person. Okay. No individual can be deprived of life and liberty except the procedure of law. Okay, everyone is allowed to live his own life, but yes, if you are a criminal, then you can be put into jail, and at that time the right of freedom is not exercised. Okay, you are compulsory or you have to be into the jail, and at that time you cannot argue that your right to freedom is violated. No one can be arrested without being told the grounds of arrest. Yes, okay, the reason for the arrest is needed, and for that government gives an order that is known as the, you can say, you have arrest warrant. It is known as a warrant. If arrested, the person has a right to defend himself by a lawyer. See, he has a right, okay, he can have his own lawyer for his case. Any arrested person has to be brought before the nearest magistrate before 24 hours. Any person who is arrested has to be brought before a magistrate. Magistrate means a judge in 24 hours of his arrest. Without the permission, no individual can be kept in custody. See, no person can be kept into custody. As per the Prohibition Act, the person under arrest will be applicable for a forest matter. Okay, but those people who are under arrest, right, this all rules doesn't implement to them. Next is a very important term, and that is known as preventive detention. This is known as preventive detention. Now, what is preventive detention? Preventive detention means detention or capturing for some time. If the state anticipates any criminal deed or activity from any person, then as precautionary measure, that person can be detained by the state under Preventive Detention Act. Okay, now if the government feels that this person can be dangerous for security, then as a part, the main purpose of preventive detention is to see that the person doesn't involve into such kind of activity. See, the purpose of this act is not to punish a convict. It is not to punish, but it is to stop him from doing that activity. Okay, so that is the main thing. Why he is detained or why he is kept into the custody? So that he doesn't do that particular activity. Okay. See, under this act, a person can be detained not more than 3 months. See, you cannot be kept into jail more than 3 months. The detention or order can be cancelled based on the opinion of the judge of Supreme Court or the member of advisory board. The state can decide the term of detention. It is purely on the state to decide the term of detention, how much time the person will be into the jail, that can be decided, but he cannot be kept into jail more than 3 months. The next right is right against exploitation. Rights against exploitation. The main objective of the constitution is to see any person does not suffer exploitation. Okay, exploitation is to take undue advantage of a person. To take advantage of a person is called exploitation at the hands of other persons. Okay, it is to see that they are not exploited. That is the main objective of the constitution. Through there is right human trafficking. Okay, human trafficking is taking or selling human beings, okay, from one place to other. Drudgery, slavery, and forced labor are banned. This all will be considered as part of exploitation. This all will be considered part of exploitation. The violation of this right is punishable offense. If anyone does it forcefully, then it is a punishable offense. Illegal trade of children, see, and women, forced labor or imposed slavery, work without pay, and old drudgery system are to be ended through this right. Okay, the trade, illegal trade, selling of children. You might have seen a lot of children begging on the roads. Many a times they are sold. So that is illegal trade, right? Forced labors, same way slavery. This all will be a violation of right against exploitation. To make work from any person without paying them or paying them less than the minimum wages, forced or imposed labor is a punishment. That's it. To force a person to work without money or to pay them less than the minimum wage. Government have decided a minimum wages for any laborer to be paid, but now if they are paid less than that, then that is considered as the violation of this particular right, and they are considered to be exploited. Or they are forced, see, if they are forced to work in such kind of condition that are not proper, then also it is considered as a humiliation, a violation of this particular right. Any child under the age of 14 cannot be made to work in a factory. So he cannot be made in work, mine, or any dangerous places. Okay, any child who is below 14 is not allowed to work in any of the dangerous places. Okay, like garage, hotels, or cannot be employed as a household servant. Also, you might have seen, okay, small young children working at tea stalls or garages and all other places, and that is illegal. That is not right. And as per the law, any person, any child below 14 years of age cannot be kept for any kind of labor. Under the Prohibition of Child Labor Act, all are punishable. Say, all these are punishable. All these are considered punishable under the Prohibition of Child Labor Act. And any child who is made to work in a factory or a mine or any profession that is dangerous to his life, then that will be considered as a violation of right against exploitation. That will be seen as a punishable act. Mandatory service can be sought for any person for the purpose of service for the public welfare of the state. Military service in any field, irrespective of the religion, gender, caste, or class, or without remuneration. Say, whenever the nation needs you, okay, suppose there is a war and the government asks people to join the military, then that will not be considered as exploitation, but it is a part of service to the nation, and it will be considered as a service and not as exploitation. Okay, irrespective of religion, gender, caste. Okay, no religion, gender, or caste will be considered when such kind of need arises for the government or the public, right? And even many a time they are asked to work without remuneration. Remuneration is without paying for them. So we'll keep till here. In this video we saw mainly two rights, that is one right to equality, which is cluster of six other rights: freedom of speech, assembly peacefully without harm, you can right form associations, to move freely through India, to reside and settle in any part of India, and to practice profession, right? And we also saw the right against exploitation.